There was one day that Alexis and I were sitting there talking, and she was making out her little budget because she had a job, and she had written on there tithe was one of her things in her budget, and I was just, amazed. I couldn't believe that she was, tithing every time she got paid, and it just made me feel so guilty because I was, giving to the church, but I wasn't tithing faithfully. I think initially it was the guilt that made me want to tithe, and then it was out of guilt and obedience. But then when we sat down and talked about it together, it was something that we wanted to do together. And
yeah, I had been tithing to my previous church. Hadn't felt God's call for me to move it yet. And then there was a message that Josh had preached that morning, and I knew God had said that it's time to move. It's time to take that tithe and bring it to where my new family's going to be. I think we do, like a lot of people, kind of rationalize how much to tithe, what is a tithe, and so forth. I've kind of known it all my life. I had a struggle with it, where God deserves our very best. He deserves the first fruits of everything that we have. We give it to government. I think we should give it to God. And so we made a decision that we were going to tithe on our gross, meaning before taxes and everything. And I think that's when everything kind of turned for us. It's just like everything fell into place. It's like it was meant to be. I wish we'd say that money just started falling out of heaven, but it doesn't work that way. God will change your heart. He'll change your desires, the things that you feel that you need to have that will prevent you from tithing. He changes that. He gives you His desires.
Since we decided to do this together and to tithe together, it's brought us closer as a couple, and it's kind of hard to explain how, but I don't know. I think that when you're in God's will, it's just natural.
Think about all the things you see here at Providence. Our kids' ministry, where kids are having the opportunity to hear and be shared the gospel with. Some of our youth going off on youth trips, the baptisms that you see going on here. All this stuff has a cost factor to it, and that's where our tithing comes into play.
All of our girls have been on youth trips, and a lot of their friends and some of the children that have gone have never even heard the gospel before. They've come from troubled homes, they've been abused, and it's just such a blessing to see that we have such cheerful givers at this church to be able to give and support that ministry as well.
And one of the messages that we've been listening to here lately are the Going to Heaven series, where people have gone to heaven and came back. One of the testimonies that was given is that this guy saw all these people that were there to greet him. And he said those were people that he had made an impact on their life. They were there because of him. And where, if you're like us, we're busy and everything, and so we don't have the time to do all these things, individually. We can tithe. And that's something that God has put in our heart and that we're going to do. We're going to continue to do that. We're committed to it because when we get to heaven, I would like to see a lot of people there where we have made an impact on their life.